Good day, great day, and grand day to you all. Welcome back to another segment of Dr. TSA Series, a spiritual discussion. My name is Dr. Terry Audate, and today's topic is depression, the spiritual perspective. Let's start first by defining what depression is. The clinical terminology is called major depression, and that really is categorized of having persistent, long-standing feelings of sadness or lack of interest or pleasure in previous activities that you once engaged. Additional symptoms may be feelings of worthlessness, irritability, not sleeping enough, having insomnia or having too much sleep, feelings of perhaps suicidal thoughts and wanting to end your life, feelings of irritability and not wanting to get up and do things and just feeling lazy, not being social or being reclusive and being isolated from others. Those are additional symptoms of major depression. So I wanted to get that out of the way. Naturally, sometimes we do feel these feelings without being diagnosed with major depression. You have to be diagnosed by a provider, a licensed provider, for you to determine, for you to be or experience major depression. You can't just go around and say that you have major depression. You have to be clinically diagnosed. However, many people do experience these feelings outside of being diagnosed. Feelings of worthlessness, not feeling good enough, not feeling motivated to do anything, not wanting to engage with others and isolate self, and feeling suicidal, like there's nothing else worth living for. So let's go back a little and review the perspective that you are a spiritual being having this human experience. And if you're a spiritual being, if there's an essence within you that is spiritual, why would one experience such feelings? Oftentimes, when we've lived a life where we are guided by what's in our head, guided by society, guided by our different institutions within our society, whether it's school, whether it's work, whether it's education, whether it's religion, whether it's social media. These are all different types of institutional thoughts that impart on who we are, right? Who we think we are, right? But who we think we are is not who you are at the core. And if we've lived a life outside of who we are at the core, then you're living someone else's life, if you will. Then you're not living according to what was meant for you, that is laden in your essence, in your core. So if you're not living the life that you came here to live and to experience, but you're living a life based on what you see on the television, based on what you see maybe family doing, based on what you see your peers doing in school or at work, if you are not living your ordained life, if you will, or the life that you were meant to live, and you're living a life based on what was told to you, then you're not going to be happy. And so the further and further away we get from our essence, the more disconnected you will feel. The more disconnected to your core you will feel. If you're feeling more disconnected from your true sense of self, the real you, naturally you'll feel sadness and you don't know why. Naturally, you won't feel accomplished. Naturally, you'll begin to have feelings of worthlessness, sadness, lack of motivation, not being able to sleep. Because with every decision that you make outside of your spirit, you're making it cognitively based on what you think you ought to be living or how you think you ought to be living. So if you're not following your gut, if you're not following your spirit, if you're not dancing to the beat of your own drum, that means you're moving further and further and further away from your light, away from your spirit. And so again, naturally, if your essence within you, if you're ignoring the space, if you're ignoring the suggestions from your essence, wanting to fulfill these ideals in your mind that is not aligned with who you are at the core, you will begin to feel these feelings of depression, these feelings of hopelessness, feelings of not wanting to be here, not feeling validated, not feeling heard. So now the question then becomes, how do I get back to my essence? But before I answer that question, so if you're feeling these feelings, right? Where are they coming from in actuality? If you're moving further and further away from your spirit is the one that is imparting these feelings on you because it's trying to let you know the state of your spiritual health, the state of your spiritual relationship with your core. How else can your spirit let you know that it's not happy with your decisions? How else can your spirit let you know that there is this disconnect? And so your spirit is the one that is imparting these feelings to you and on you and within you to reel you back in to what matters most, your core. Your spirit is trying to tell you that you are in a state of an emergency and you have to get back to the base. Because the base, your essence, your core is what will make you happy and be at peace, not what's outside of you. And we're constantly running and trying to avoid what's inside, and we want to follow what everyone else is doing. Whether it's forming a business, whether it's whatever, I can name a list of things. Understand that when you're feeling these feelings, your spirit is trying to tell you that you are in a state of an emergency, and let's reel you back in, back home to the true sense of you. In one of my previous videos, I discuss how your spirit, or rather the voice of your spirit, is from your feelings. Your feelings are the voices of your spirit. And if you're feeling a certain way that is unbecoming to your essence, it is your duty to reel yourself back into the core, and you need to begin to talk to those feelings because your spirit is trying to give you a message. Now I know every time I bring this up in one of my sessions, people ask me, what? Do you mean I have to sit within my feelings? Yes, I mean you have to sit within your feelings with the understanding. I have to make this point. I don't want you to sit in your feelings without understanding that you're a spiritual being having this human experience. Because if you're not understanding that and you sit within these feelings, you're going to go down this downward spiral of depression, this quicksand of negative thoughts that will be very difficult for you to come out of. It is so important, and I put an asterisk on this comment. that when you're sitting in your feelings, you're not sitting in your feelings and thinking in your head. You are sitting in your feelings with the understanding that I'm talking to you. You are a spiritual being having a human experience. And when you sit within those feelings, I want you to talk to those feelings, talk to your spirit, and ask your spirit to fill the voids within you. Fill the voids of hopelessness. Fill the voids of worthlessness. Fill the voids of low self-esteem. Fill the voids of sadness. Fill the voids of lack of interest. Ask your spirit to fill the voids within you, to bring you back home, to help you deal with what's inside, not to push those feelings under the rug. And that is the hard work. That is the work that is required to find your true self. Too often times, we want to push those feelings under the rug because it doesn't feel good. Well, it's not supposed to feel good, but you need to address it. That is your spiritual homework, is to address those voids within you, those negative feelings within you. You have to address it if you want to move forward in your life and never to repeat those feelings again. Granted, we all go through those symptoms. Most of us, or some of us, just are not diagnosed with major depression, if you will. But your spirit will always let you know when you're off track. And you have to heed the call of your spirit, of your essence. When you're beginning to feel those feelings, you have to come right back home and start asking yourself some questions. Ask your spirit these questions. And I will say again, it's not easy. And I always say to people that I interact with, this journey, this spiritual journey is not for the weak. It is very challenging. And so if you are not embarking on this journey, life will be very difficult. I know that firsthand. Life will be very difficult. You'll be spinning in circles over and over and over again. So let me just recap. Your feelings are the voices of your spirit. If you're having feelings that are unbecoming, that doesn't feel good or unsatisfactory, that you don't like to feel, it is time for you to come back home in your spirit and start having these conversations with your essence, with your spirit, with your true sense of self, not with your head. I want you to feel these feelings and imagine yourself talking to those feelings. Bring the energy of thought from the head to your gut. That's the kind of conversation that you need to have. Bringing that energy of thought from the mind down to your gut and have that discussion with your feelings. That is the gateway to your success. That is the gateway to your peace. That is the gateway to loving yourself and going back home to your spiritual essence. Thank you all for watching. I hope that was helpful to many of you. If you have any questions or comments, please leave them in the comment section. And if you like this video and like to hear more, please subscribe and click that like button, and I hope to hear from you soon. Thank you all again for watching. Remember that you're loved. Mwah! Namaste. Bye.
And there you have it on another segment of Dr. TSA Series, a spiritual discussion. Thank you once again all for watching. Remember to click that thumbs up and subscribe. Also, remember you're loved. Namaste.